All right. Welcome to the Books, Beards, Booze podcast, where we drink booze, have beards, and talk books. This is our weekly short read, Tall Glass episode, where we chat about the latest book news, as well as doing a deep dive on our short story of the week, which this week is The Story of an Hour by Kate Chopin. Chopin. I am Bob of TalesbyBob.
And I'm Derek of the Louisiana Bayou this week.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. So, as I said on the blog, we realize that people have busy lives, and perhaps an hour-long podcast is a bit long for some folks. So we're going to split our podcast into two. One where we focus on the short story Tall Glass for people who, that's really what they're here for. And then one that's kind of centered more around our book battle episode. So let's start off. This week, our drink recipe is the Hourglass, because, story of an hour, Hourglass. It's a half shot of Admiral Nelson spiced rum and a bit of orange juice with a tender splash of grenadine, it said. And you serve it over ice.
Kind of wish we had got the stuff for that.
Yeah,
we had this conversation.
We really need to start doing that.
Well, see, this one, look, okay, so all these ones that we suggest to you guys, a lot of them, they sound interesting and they fit the theme. This one, it sounds like something we would actually drink.
Yeah.
And then
although I will say, man, I've kind of got, after the last two podcasts where we did the vodka and I was drinking screwdrivers, man, that OJ, like that much OJ gives me it gives me heartburn.
Oh.
So,
that's why
but just like a one or two just to sip on,
that would have been good. I just realized I haven't had rum in a while.
Yeah.
I'd go for some rum. I might do rum tomorrow.
Have you had Kraken?
There's a bottle of it in here,
Kraken's
empty.
Good.
So I don't know if I drank it or that's just left over from.
I don't like drinking a lot of. Although I do want to try it mixed with Dr. Pepper.
No, I haven't had Kraken because you bought the.
Oh yeah, the mini.
Yeah, the mini.
I love those minis. I love the minis. That's the just right amount of Kraken for me to drink straight. Okay. Like for me, just like I get one of those minis of Kraken a lot of times to start out a drinking session.
I really may do rum tomorrow instead of. I was going to do Bushmills just because.
Tomorrow is my birthday and we're going to have a big throwdown. So at my house it's going to be tragic.
So are we going to go through with the?
It's going to depend on time.
Oh,
there may be a bonus episode with our biggest fan Tanya.
And time willing, there's a really good chance that I'm going to be absolutely sloshed before the party even starts because I suspect I'll lose.
Yeah, probably
through shenanigans and bias.
It's gonna be fun. Anyway, so what are you drinking? I mean, I can see what you're drinking.
I'm super classy this week with my Keystone Lights.
Oh
yeah, they're smooth.
Tragic.
How dare you? $7 for 15. I don't even.
For a reason.
How dare you? You drink PBR. I will hear no negative things said about my
PBR's
Keystone.
good though.
That was.
I'm actually not drinking right now because I'm leaving here. I have to drive to Birmingham for a concert, so I'm
going to be responsible.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to drink when I get there, but I got an hour and a half drive, and I don't want to drive it drunk. So
if you don't want to die.
Yeah, basically.
Because that's dumb.
Yeah. So, diving in on our news, here's what I got this week. Mm-hmm. So, I found a Wall Street Journal article called Signs of Life in Book Publishing Draws Big Investors to Startup. And it wasn't super interesting, but it was low-key kind of interesting for the way it talked about just how the book publishing industry is going right now.
Are you talking the article itself, like as in it wasn't written particularly interesting, or the topic wasn't interesting? Because the topic sounds like it's kind of a big deal.
No. The topic was boring. The topic is about this one particular investment firm. Mm-hmm. No one gives a fuck.
Oh.
I mean, the people involved give a fuck, but
the concept, though, that the people are investing.
No. I mean, like, look, that part was boring. What made it interesting was them talking about the book publishing industry at large, like two rich guys buying a regional book publisher, Arcadia Publishing. That's whatever.
That's nothing. But that as a symptom of what else is going on.
Well, yeah, it was basically them saying, like, basically it was interesting to me because they had some stats in there that I'm going to read. But it's basically, there's this group starting up that they're planning on buying up smaller publishing houses, basically, because they think that it's going to be a good investment over time, because book publishing is typically stable in good economic times and bad, and has shown modest growth in recent years, as the article said. And I currently own 2 stocks, and one of them is a book publisher.
Trying to get on the down floor.
It's my best. Like, granted, I only have 2, but it's far and away my best stock.
Yeah.
So I can attest that it's working pretty well. But here are some interesting things. Unit sales of print books increased 1.9% to 687 million in 2017, according to book tracker NPD Bookscan. And they were saying, like, basically the fact that ebooks haven't completely disrupted print sales, and the fact that there's been growth in independent bookstores suggests that publishing is a lot healthier of a business than a lot of people think. Yeah. And just anecdotally, I can attest to the fact that I have been noticing that there are more independent bookstores. Like, not here.
Because we live in Nowhereville.
Yeah, it's awful. Yeah. But we have one independent bookstore.
Just one?
Yeah, Reed Herring. We have Trade-In Books, but that's... Trade-In Books, too.
I've got history. Me and Trade-In Books are our best friends.
No, so we got Trade-In Books, but they're... I mean, you trade in books and buy books, kind of. It's not quite... I mean, it is a bookstore, but it's a little bit of a different model. But, yeah, so... And, I don't know, I just... everyone was thinking that ebooks were going to kill print media, and
I never thought that.
That's not proven... Well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
That's not proven to be the case.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I like my hard copies.
Well, I am definitely trying to get rid of all mine and replace them all with ebooks. But that's not...
I understand the draw of the ebook.
That's just because I'm trying to be a minimalist.
Yeah.
And most of my stuff is taken up the bookshelves.
Well, it's not like you can... That's a good way to use your space, is books. Like, what else would you do with the space?
Well, that's my point. I want to be able to downsize into a smaller space. Mm-hmm. So, that's the goal. So, have a smaller space, so then my utilities are cheaper, Like, it just, minimalism. It appeals to me. So, yeah, that was
You throw parties.
I do. But I want to have a pavilion for party throwing. But yeah, so that was my news. Basically, just that's cool. I've been thinking about maybe we could do some bonus podcast. I don't know how interesting it would be. If this would interest you, maybe let me know and we'll consider it. But about kind of like some behind the scenes, like where we do a deep dive about Tor. Like who owns Tor, how many books they publish every year, how have they grown, how have they changed, etc., etc., etc. Stuff like that. So, but yeah. What's your news?
My news is something I was not expecting to find when I searched for literary news this week. Apparently, there's a pretty good chance that the Nobel Prize for Literature will not be awarded this year. According to an article by The Guardian, the Swedish Academy which is the Academy.
Right.
Yeah. Basically, they've gone through a pretty significant scandal recently because the husband of a member of their board has allegedly participated in sexual harassment and abuse and was accused by 18 different women. So that's kind of caused a stir.
Yeah.
And then it only made it even worse when the committee tried to kick out or vote out his wife.
Okay.
And
didn't. They didn't vote her out?
No.
Why were they trying to vote her out?
Well, it was also not only because of the bad press of having him around, but also he's also it looks like he has leaked the name of the Nobel Prize winner 7 different times before it was actually announced. So they're basically taking... It seems like
so she's been telling him...
Right, and then he's been leaking it. Apparently, that's the implication. They don't...
All right, because
Yeah,
I'm all like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that was... Well, see, that's what I was...
But I was confused as why they were kicking her out for something her husband did.
This would be the first time since World War II in 1943 that they didn't give out the award.
Yeah.
And if they don't give out the award, they're going to give out 2 next year, and I think it's October. I didn't.
So it's basically they're not giving out an award because they don't want the current people to vote.
Well, see, that's the thing. Award. See, that's what it continues to go on. The 4 members of the committee responsible specifically for choosing the person that wins the award and awarding it to them, none of them have anything to do with any of this. Because here's the thing. When she wasn't voted out, 3 people left the committee, quit in protest. And then after that, their secretary, a week later I think it was, quit. And then the woman that they were trying to kick out left the same time. So everything's falling apart. But the Nobel Society, or it's the Nobel Association, or the actual trust of Nobel, they basically have no confidence in this organization anymore. And they're saying that they don't know that they think that they should have the honor of awarding it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because their internal everything is so out of whack that they don't...
everything's so fucky
that they're like, obviously you're not doing your jobs correctly. We don't feel...
that makes sense.
That makes some sense. But, so that's basically what's happening. I don't know how I feel about... Like, I understand that you're still going to award 2 next year. It just kind of really sucks for the person that's going to win. Like, what if... God forbid, what if they died before they got the award?
Oh, yeah, that would be very unfortunate.
And it's like, and it didn't affect the 4 people that do the choosing.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be, I don't know, I'm curious as to your thoughts as to whether or not they should do it.
Well.
And the point is, as we're doing this, there's a really good chance that they've actually announced whether or not, because they were supposed to announce today whether or not they were going to give it out or not.
I don't know, like, I get... It does definitely seem like that branch of the organization kind of doesn't have its shit together. So, I feel like would you want to win it this year? I mean, obviously you're going to want to win it regardless, but like,
Honestly, I wouldn't
care.
care, because it's a reward for me, not them.
But it'll forever be somewhat... It's like, basically like, it'd be like, let's just say you were in grad school and you got to your final presentation, where they go over all your stuff and they give it to you. You're good, you're fine. And then it comes out like the next year that 2 of the 3 professors were taking money and they passed a lot of folks that did you deserve to win it? Yes, but there's always going to be that lingering cloud of suspicion over it, over like whether, okay, so you won it, but this was the B team, like the shitty organization that couldn't get their shit together.
That's not an appropriate analogy, because the people that would be giving me the A-OK in that analogy are those 4 people that have nothing to do with.
They're part of the same organization, though. Is the thing. It's like...
Well, that's like saying that someone at the same... like the same university did some screwed up stuff.
Well, no, it would be more like saying someone in the same department who wasn't on your specific panel.
Well, see, that wouldn't bother me at all.
But it's still that organizational... Like, it's still the English department has this cloud of suspicion over it, and you graduated from this department with a cloud of suspicion.
So I wouldn't care. I'd be like, look at this.
But, like, if... It doesn't seem like it's going... Like, unless the person dies, it's not going to really have a huge effect, it seems like. It's like they're just going to give 2 next year. And, the person could die between now and then.
I mean, they're probably not. That's why I was curious. But, I don't think I care really either way.
Yeah, my thing, like, I know me, if I was the one that's going to win it, I would rather win it without the taint.
Selfishly, though, I wouldn't want to break the trend of having not given one out since the war.
I would care less about that, mainly because I know that, what is it? there's another big book award that some years they just don't award it. So like it, I'm trying. Oh God, who was it? It was the guy who wrote. I got lost on a Wikipedia tunnel molehill thing, and I don't know. There was this author. He's dead. He committed suicide. Somewhat recently.
Probably doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but anyway, the reason I found out about this, it major award, like National Book Award or something like that, like
right.
Pulitzer.
Okay.
Yeah, the Pulitzer. The Pulitzer for novels. Mm-hmm. There are some years where they just won't.
Well, if nothing reaches their standards, they're just like, eh.
I think it's more like if the voting is like
not unanimous enough, or like majority.
Majority. I think it was something like that. Like it has to be like 60% or something. Vague memory of trying to read this, but like he was one of the nominees that year.
Yeah. And
it was like, he was a nominee, but no, there wasn't an award given that year. Mm-hmm. So it's not like some years.
My thing is, I would almost feel worse if I was like in that situation. If I was a nominee and then they just didn't give it to anybody that year, I would feel like that would literally make me look bad.
Or maybe it would just be like, wow, the four books were just all so good, equal stature.
Maybe, but I would still think it as a bad thing. Yeah. And then more specifically with this, the Nobel Prize, but like it kind of detract with me getting this award at the same time as somebody else next year. Like, I'm not set in either way. It's just, it's a weird situation.
It is.
And you know what, man? Really, I don't like the idea of people being punished for some asshole, you know? And I understand it, but it's just, it's shitty.
Yeah. This would have been a really appropriate conversation to have next week.
Was that?
Because of who our author is next week.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why I'm doubling up. I'm
right.
drilling into this, apparently.
Okay. Anything else you want to add on that?
No, I just thought
that was a really interesting article.
Yeah, I was
much more interesting than mine.
Interesting. The place that I found this was on a website that keeps track of literary news, and I've now signed up to the newsletter.
Oh,
so
nice.
That's one thing. I think it's going to be interesting because it also tells you what books come out.
Who is it? Let's give him a shout.
I can't even remember right now.
You're a piece of shit.
Yes, well, that's generally how I do things.
All right. Well, last piece of news that we're going to address is Derek, what's the news with Doors of Stone?
There is none, Bob, and there never will be.
Fair enough. So, as we still don't have a sponsor yet, here's this week's sponsor in our head. Love the beach, but hate all that water? I know I do. So why not come to sunny Arrakeen? Recently under new management, the Atreides family welcomes you with open arms. Sample their life-altering spices, stroll along the city's warm streets, or book an ornithopter tour over the great sand wastes. There's always a lot to do on Arrakis. Shai Halud. I haven't told Derek any of our commercials for the next few podcasts.
So you'll hear me giggling in the background when he
All
does
right.
them.
So let's dive in to our short story, Tall Glass. I don't have a ton of stuff to say about this one because it was real short. Yeah. But let's dive into the history a little bit. Kate Chopin is considered the forerunner of Southern feminist writers such as Zelda Fitzgerald, which, Montgomery has a Fitzgerald Museum. And I've actually been in the house where Zelda and F. Scott, you have to trespass.
Oh.
So, okay, enough said.
Moving on.
She died at 54.
Really?
In 1904. She was born in 1850.
Oh, 53.
Well, I don't know, man. Wikipedia said 54.
Okay. I could have just been the math
But here's a connection to Alabama. Some of Chopin's ancestors were among the first inhabitants of Dauphin Island, Alabama. Yeah. But yeah, so she was an avid reader of fairy tales and such growing up, and in 1870 she married Oscar Chopin. God, I'm just gonna say it differently every time. Yeah. And they moved to his hometown of New Orleans. And then she popped out 6 kids between 1871 and 1879. Yep. Well, then Oscar died.
Womp, womp.
Womp, womp. And she got real depressed. And she moved back. She tried to keep the the business going. He ran like some plantations, stuff like that, and then he left her with like I think it was the equivalent of like $420,000 worth of debt.
Oof.
And she ended up selling the business after a couple of years. Apparently, she was an outrageous flirt during that time. Is what the internet would tell me.
From everything I know about her writings, other than this, that does not surprise me.
Well, so she moves back up to St. Louis, where her mom lived, and her obstetrician was like, you know what? You're very depressed, but you have a lot of pep. You should start writing. Like, you have a lot of energy, but you're depressed. Like, you should funnel that into writing, believing that it would be a source of therapeutic healing. And so, by the early 1890s, she began writing short stories, articles, and translations. She was successful and got a bunch of her stuff published, but didn't really make money.
Yeah.
Like, and it was kind of like, at the time, like, rustic writings about the South were real popular, and that's what she wrote. And so it's kind of like she was the right person at the right time. So her stuff was really popular, but it never really made a lot of money. And she is best known for The Awakening, one of her 2 novels, which, while reviewed favorably in some papers, it kind of caused a ruckus. Yeah. And I think Derek's going to tell us a little bit about this ruckus.
Yeah, the ruckus, the long and the short of it being, it pretty much ruined her career. Like, afterwards, she was kind of ostracized by society.
That'll do it.
Because a prevalent theme in her writing is female sexuality, which apparently was not a thing at the time. Go figure.
Yeah.
Which is why her being a flirt, the more you know.
Yeah.
But the majority, The Awakening, if I'm remembering correctly, has a lot to do with the sexual awakening of a woman as she's having an affair, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember specifically. I'm blanking.
Yeah, I can see that would cause a bit of a ruckus.
Yeah, especially at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
okay.
And it just caused her a lot of problems. But then when people found it in more recent years, it's considered fairly highly.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's what I was reading. She's really had a bit of a renaissance.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I'm the one that picked this. The reason I picked it is because I did it in school, and it was one of the most memorable things that I've read.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of hers, so.
So what's your fact?
Actually, going into that, my fact for this story is this was actually one of the first short stories that I went over, or that I studied when I got back into college. For those who don't know, I went to college for a year and a half or so, and then quit for a really long time, and then finally went back to get my degree. And when I went back, I still wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, or if I wanted to really stay at all. And I took a short story class with Professor Bob Evans at AUM. And it was so much fun that I was like, I'm in, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because
rediscovered your love.
Yeah, because literally the entire class, like, the class kind of helped shape how I look at literature today, because previously I read books and it was fine, and it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And I did pay a little bit of attention specifically to
the craft
of it, but only a little bit. But this entire class was just us coming into class, all of us getting out our books, and Professor Evans reading the stories to us. And we just broke it down line by line the entire time.
Huh.
If I'm remembering correctly, it was around 2/3 of the way through the semester before he realized we didn't have any grades.
Nice.
So he was like, got to do things.
Quick aside, like we did the podcast from the future, from the past last week, because I was in Michigan, ate at a Bob Evans restaurant. It was good.
Yeah, which is what was hilarious to me when you mentioned that. I was like, yeah.
Bob Evans, it was good.
But it was really important, and kind of, I can actually remember the exact sentence, which I will be bringing up later as my favorite line.
That locked it in.
That really kind of hammered home. It's like, I really like this.
Yeah. So. Okay. My fact is that this story of an hour, was published in Vogue, which I had no idea that it was that old. But it was it began as a weekly newspaper in 1892, and then it eventually became the monthly publication that it is now. But there's 23 international editions of it. When it started, it sold for a cover price of 10 cents, which is the equivalent of $2.72 now. And the guy started it. The guy's name was Arthur Baldwin Turnier, whatever.
God, we're so good with names.
His intention was to create a publication that celebrated the ceremonial side of life, one that attracts the sage as well as the debutante, men of affairs as well as the belle. And from its inception, it was targeted to the New York upper class. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Vogue. Who knew? Not just a Madonna song.
I knew that that this was published in Vogue. Didn't really think about the fact that...
Yeah. Because now it's just like a fashion magazine, right? Something like that. I think it's like a fashion magazine.
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So, let's discuss this puppy. I enjoyed it. It was really good.
I really like this. So, I don't read short stories. I took a class on short stories, and this was maybe the 4th or 5th one we did. And up until we got to this one, I was like, I'm not enjoying this at all. Not really. And then I got to this one, and I was like, okay, if you're going to call something a short story, this is a short story. Like, I love it. I'm looking at it right now in my old textbook. It's front and back of the page, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the entire story. And I was like, you know what? If you're going to have something that's a short story, that's how you do it. It's super short, and it's a very short period of time. But I think it is really good at demonstrating the shift of emotions over a single afternoon or whatever. I thought it was really good. I love this story.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Yeah,
like I said, I don't have a ton to say about it. I think it was definitely indicative of the time. Like, definitely like a neat window into 1870s, 80s life. You know, like kind of like the expectations put upon women and whatnot.
Exactly.
So,
which was
how far we've come.
Yeah, it was part of the fun of the close read was just thinking about why she was reacting the way she was. Like, it does a pretty good job of saying why, but this was, I mean, let's see, it would probably been 2013-ish. Like, people probably just don't make the connection of just how, I hesitate to say subservient, but like, you know what I mean?
Women were much more locked in their roles.
Right, yeah. Then, like, they had their very specific things.
And she wrote this it was published in like 82 or something. Is that?
1894.
94.
Yeah.
Like, her husband had died by that point.
Exactly.
And, I don't know, because I haven't read about it.
Like, I don't. This is probably what happened with her.
Yeah, like, if not exactly like this, that experience, because, like, they said, like, after he died,
she was really upset.
Well, she was depressed. She also was depressed because her mom died, too. But, it was, she was depressed about that, but she, by all accounts, by all accounts, that's like 2 sentences on Wikipedia, she was getting out there. She started living her best life, like getting out, flirting with guys, having a good time.
Which is what this woman was
looking forward to.
Yeah.
And so I have to think that, and because she never remarried, I think she was like, because she ran the business for a while until she sold it. She got to live the life that this woman didn't, and I think she was one, like, that was clearly the impetus of this story was her own life, which is cool.
Really interesting. I thought it was really cool because I just imagine, like, kind of with her, she probably went through something really similar to this, but probably more elongated.
Yeah.
Because this happens real quick.
Yeah, it does. I can't remember how he died. I don't know. I don't even know if it's said. It just said he died. No, how her actual husband.
Yeah, I don't know, but
so.
Make him out there if I
Okay. That was Corey the roommate popping out.
But yeah, it's super short. There's a lot of symbolism in it if you know what you're looking for, which I didn't at the time.
Yeah.
So the reason this stuck with me so much was I paid attention to, like I said, I paid attention to specific word usage a little bit in the past.
Yeah.
But this one was what...
Is this your favorite line?
Yeah, I can go ahead and do it. The line, "Into this she sank, pressed down by physical exhaustion that haunted her body and seemed to reach into her soul." We sat there for, I feel like it was almost 20 minutes just analyzing that one sentence.
Huh.
Just because Dr. Evans was trying to make the point that, it's the point that we've discussed a lot, and I assume that you probably get super frustrated with me about, is she could have said that sentence 1,000 different ways.
Yeah.
Used different words and gotten the same thing across. But she chose the words that she chose for a very specific reason to paint a very specific picture of what the person is supposed to be. Like, she's just sitting in a chair. She's just sitting down. But she didn't sit, she sank.
Yeah.
And then she wasn't tired. She specifically says that she was pressed down by physical exhaustion and haunted because of what had happened. It's just, the word selection was really good, and it very adequately showed what exactly was going on for her at that moment. And I don't even, it just has always stuck with me. Like, I could almost tell you this line without having read this again recently. Huh. It's so stuck in my head.
My favorite line is actually the last line.
Yeah.
And I only wrote down half of it, but it's when the doctors came, they said she had died of heart disease, of the joy that kills. And I just put down "of the joy that kills." Yeah. And I was like, oh, damn. Oh. Yeah. Oh, damn. Because they definitely said it meaning it one way.
Yeah.
And no, it was the dashed joy.
Yeah, see,
that killed.
I really liked the story before that. But the way it ends, I was like, oh
snap.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, makes sense. Because I didn't know it was going to end that way. Obviously, the first time I was reading it, I didn't know he was going to show back up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was just like, oh, cool, she's coming to grips with what's going to have to happen, and she's going to... And then...
Boom.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, no. Nope.
But yeah, that sentence and... Oh, but that's my favorite line, but my favorite phrase in this is revealed and half concealing. It's like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Yes, I nerd out over... I really like Kei Chopin because of just something like that. It's like, I don't even know why I love that so much. It's just, it's so good.
Yeah. Got anything else you want to add?
Let's see.
Because I think I've said about all I can say about it.
Just that I loved it. It played a really big part in my academic life. Yep. It has stuck with me pretty much forever. And as it turns out, I've read a lot more of her work than I thought I had.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that as we were looking into this.
But yeah, that's
cool.
I really liked it. It was super short. It was really impactful, and a lot happened emotionally over a short period of time. And I feel like that's the best type of short story. I like short stories that take place over super condensed times.
Okay. I can dig it. All right, well, next week, here's your bonus for actually listening to the podcast. We're going to read What You Pawn, I Will Redeem by Sherman Alexie, which is, of all the stories we've done, it's my favorite. Love it.
It's very good.
Yeah,
I mean,
my fave.
It doesn't take place over an hour.
No, it doesn't. We have no viewer mail this week because no one loves us.
No.
So, thank you for that, guys. But if you wanted to contact us, you can contact us at Beard Booze at Twitter, booksbeardsbooze@gmail.com, or on our Facebook page, or on our blog, booksbeardsbooze.wordpress.com. And just hit us up on any of those. Leave a comment.
Or carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
Smoke signals.
Anything. Just get at us. We'd love to hear from you. And finally, I guess just go forth and grow a great beard.